Welcome, welcome, welcome to this edition of Stroke of Genius. And we have a great lineup today. We have Stacy James is going to be joining us. She is the person that I've been connected with over the last few years, and she is a survivor. She had a spinal cord injury, I believe, when she was junior in college. So she's going to tell us a lot more about that, how she's been able to come through that, and how she has been able to really work with her disability and make it more of an ability than anything, and allow her to succeed in her life, and also to share that with other people. So one of those people, really, it's been me, but there's also many other people that have shared in her story, and that one of those is her caregivers. And she's going to talk a little bit about her caregivers and how it's been very important for the caregivers to really feel for and understand what she was going through. So she's allowed them to almost see through her eyes, and that has allowed her to get the best care possible. So without that, I'll say one other thing. We're gonna take a look at. I'll just go right to the video. So I'll go right to the talk here with Stacy, and here comes Stacy James. Thank you very much for joining us today, Stacy.
Well, good morning. It's so great to be here.
Oh, this is awesome. So I told the audience a little bit about your story, just to kind of lead into it. But I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit more about your story and go a little farther in depth than what I have.
Okay, I was a junior in college at the University of Cincinnati, and it was the end of our junior year, and we were celebrating that with a party with friends. It was in my campus ministry, and at the end of the day, we all got back in. It was at her house, and she had an in-ground swimming pool, and I was standing on my friend's shoulders in the shallow end, and I found myself losing my balance. And so if I fell, I would have hit the concrete. So I dove toward the deep end, toward 5 feet of water, but I never made it. I slammed my head on the bottom of 3 feet of water and instantly was paralyzed from the neck down. And I thought I was going to drown, but my friend got me out, floated me on top of the water, and the ambulance came, and I was scared. I couldn't move anything. Mm-hmm. And my friends prayed for me. That helped me to become a little bit calmer. They took me to the ambulance took me to the hospital, where they did a CAT scan and found out I had broken my neck in 3 places. And the doctors told my mom I would never walk again. And so began a life that I had no idea was going to come, and something I didn't ask for, but ended up becoming a great blessing in my life.
Yeah. So that blessing, how has that blessing helped other people?
Well, one of the greatest things I had actually was something Brian talks about a lot. It's called vision. And I had a vision for my life. I needed to finish college because I wanted to go on full-time staff with campus ministry. And so I knew that I was all of a sudden, I was like, well, what's this broken neck doing in my life? This is interrupting my plan, my vision. And so I knew I had to do the best I could in therapy to learn how to live with this disability, no matter what it was going to bring. And so I did. I gave it my all. And by the time I left rehab, I now have functional use of my hands, just learning how to use them differently. And I could take a few steps on crutches by the time I left. And I ended up, I graduated from college 2 years later. I was able to come on staff with Crew, awesome ministry, for 7 years, but I always felt like I had a story to tell. And so that's what led me to become a motivational speaker, because I knew that I could inspire people no matter what their adversity. And also something that was really great, I discovered wheelchair sports. I would do wheelchair track and field, swimming, weightlifting, and I won about 200 medals doing that. And also,
really? 200 medals?
And I also, someone challenged me to do a marathon, and I thought, my arms are actually still pretty weak. And so someone challenged me to do a marathon. I thought there was no way, I can barely get around this track.
Hmm.
But long story short, I trained and I learned that I didn't have to finish first as long as I finished. And so that led me to do the New York City Marathon. I finished that in 11 and a half hours. It was my first race.
Wow.
I know.
11 and a half hours.
That's
Huh.
a testament to perseverance right there. But
That is amazing.
thanks. I since learned that I can do it with my hand cycle and cut my time down to about half. And my hand cycle, I'll show you a picture of it. There we go.
Ah, okay.
Right there.
Oh, so you cycle by your hands.
I do.
Thank you.
Pretty cool.
My hand cycle makes sense.
Yeah, it is. It's stuff that, I like to use in my speeches to say, just persevere, give life one more push. And and I've also been able to become a co-author of 2 books on overcoming adversity, and I'm currently writing my own memoir to pick out the pieces of my life that can really be
Awesome.
helpful. So anyway, that's a little bit. Really.
That's cool. So you got to tell me more about this hand biking for 11 and a half hours. How do you do that?
Well, the hand bike wasn't 11 and a half hours. It was pushing my actual wheelchair because I didn't have a racing chair. I had all these excuses why I couldn't do it. I didn't have a racing chair. I was intimidated by New York City. And I just had never done a marathon before. And like I said, I was weak. I didn't know. But I had trained for, I think 8 months beforehand, just pushing myself around the campus and around the stadium and stuff. So, and I did it with the Achilles Track Club of New York City. It's a huge track club of people with disabilities. So I wasn't alone. I had a guide to go with me.
Mm-hmm.
And there were people of all kinds of disabilities that they helped to do that. And we started 2 hours before the actual race started. They gave us a little more time. So it's great. Like if anybody has a disability, it's a great thing to look into, the Achilles Track Club, because they can help you, they'll support you, and it's just an amazing endeavor. Because when I crossed the finish line, first thing I said was, I will never do this again. But after I recovered, I realized, wow, if I can do this, I can do anything.
A marathon.
I conquer. So
wow.
It's very empowering. Whenever you do a major challenge, it empowers you like nothing else because you gain courage, and it's exciting.
But I mean, I would think your arms would be just wasted.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, I mean, then for how many days did it take you to recover?
Oh gosh. Well, you know what was kind of funny? My mom actually did it with me. She's like, I'll walk beside you and encourage you and cheer you on. Well, she didn't know what she was getting into either, and really neither did I, but we were scheduled to do the Columbus Marathon the next week.
Oh, yeah, not so much.
So I know, but we actually did that, and I was still in my.
You did.
We did. And I was still in my regular push rim wheelchair. So that also took 11 and a half hours. But here's the thing. The next marathon, they're like, you got to finish in like under 7 hours. I'm like, I can't do that. That's when I discovered, maybe I could use my hand cycle. Maybe that would work. And that's a lot of people use today. There's a lot of people with disabilities that use our hand cycles, and they will finish in an easy like 2 hours. Those are people that really have their full strength. Now I will finish. That takes me like about 6 hours. But hey, it's a lot more fun, and it's still a heck of a lot of work. And actually, here I brought a visual aid. You see this right here? This is my 40th birthday. I did the Columbus Marathon.
Wow.
Cycle. That was 10 years ago. So I was hoping to do the Columbus Marathon this year because it's in October. My 50th birthday will be in October.
Ah, happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
That is incredible.
Thanks.
Wow. So you won 200 medals. What you said running and or wheelchair, and then swimming, you said it? What else did you win the medals for?
Swimming, weightlifting, track and field, which is discus, shot put, and javelin. And I'd never done that stuff before, but they
Hmm.
can adapt it to the different disabilities. And I'm not competing against people that are like have way more strength than me. They classify you according to your disability. So it's really a great way for anybody that has a disability to be active, compete again, and just have like a motivation to keep their strength up, to keep fit, to keep active, and to keep going to the gym. So it's really a great program. Plus the camaraderie, especially like among veterans, the veteran games, and to get out among other people that are also thriving, and
Hmm.
it's all around good.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So Achilles, you said it was the name of the organization.
Yes, Achilles.
Is that strictly in New York or is it elsewhere?
Oh, they have chapters all over the world.
Wow. Okay. And out of all the marathons you picked the one in New York City to go to first?
Well, I didn't pick it exactly. Somebody challenged me to do that.
Uh,
I would never have thought to do a marathon in my life, but I met this person at the Ohio Wheelchair Games, and she was part of Achilles Track Club, and her brother had done it, who had a disability, and so she just thought this was the greatest thing in the world for me, to which I thought, I can barely get around this track. There's no way I could do a marathon. But she didn't give up on me, and I thought,
Isn't that great
maybe
when you have people in your corner that just don't give up on you?
I know it is. And I realized too, a lot of the major things that I've done in my life, people have challenged me to do them or highly encouraged. That's how I was able to write the two books that I've been able to co-author. This is one of them. It's called Don't
Okay.
Miss the Boat, Living Your Life with Purpose.
Don't miss your boat.
Yeah, and so I'm one of 21 stories of overcomers. And
Hmm.
the opportunity was there, and I took it to write my book. And so someone also she invited me to a trip to Ireland. And I thought, gosh, going overseas all by myself, because I didn't have anyone to go with me. But I thought, it was a lot of planning and a lot of saying, if people can help me here and there, maybe I could do it. But it was someone that believed in me, because and I know we want to get into the caregivers and stuff. My mom was my major caregiver, and she was my traveling companion.
Hmm.
So she actually, 9 years ago, she passed away. So now my traveling I have to do mostly by myself.
Hmm.
And I never thought I could go overseas by myself, but I found out that the place that we went to Dublin, Ireland, and I was able to rent a scooter, which is amazingly empowering, because there's no way I could push my wheelchair on cobblestone streets and tough sidewalks. And the people on the tour, they helped to lift my scooter into the bus, and um, just helped assist me, getting up the steps. So found out that, when you ask for help in certain ways, people are most of the time really willing to help you if they can.
Yeah.
And so that's how I'm able to do a lot of things,
Hmm.
by asking for help and planning in advance, and renting a scooter when I know I can't push. So.
Do you remember what's tour company you used when you were over there?
It wasn't
Wasn't it a tour company?
a tour company like for people with disabilities. I
Okay.
don't I don't remember now. It was a tour company that was organized here. It was for a music festival in Ireland.
Oh.
And we used, what, it wasn't actually a tour company. We used a bus with like a driver, and the lady that directed the trip, I think she hired them for like a couple days.
Hmm.
It
Okay.
was a specific company. If I can recall it, I
No,
will.
that's okay. I was just curious because we were just over there 2 years ago and we did a tour and we loved it. So yeah, it was great. So let me go back to
We
what you were
should talk.
saying about your caregiver. So your
Yeah.
mom was your caregiver 9 years ago. She passed away. Who's been your caregiver now?
So now I found out that I wish I knew this years ago, but we found out through another person that I do sports with. She says, Stacy, you're eligible for help through Delaware County. That's where I live now. And took a lot of applying and stuff, but I found out that they could give me a caregiver for that they would pay for it. It's within a certain budget, and I get 8 hours a week, which is really not a lot, but it really is helpful. And so
Mm,
there's an agency through them who send me two people twice a week. So currently, right now, it's Monday and Friday from 10 to 2. And so they help with things like stretching my legs. And that takes a long time. That takes like 45 minutes to 60 minutes, but
mm.
necessary. So they help stretch my legs. They help change my bed, help me do laundry, groceries, food preparation, um, light cleaning, vacuum my floor, sweep my kitchen floor, mop, dust. There's never enough time to get everything done, but they really they can take me on some errands too, especially now with COVID. I'm careful with who I ride with because I want to be safe. So
Sure.
they're great. They're safe. Wear masks, and I trust who they interact with. So it's been awesome.
Huh. Wow. Well, that's great. Well, when you first had your accident, was there a time where you just didn't know what to do? Obviously, you had caregivers to help you, your mom. But was there a time where you just were like, I give up. I don't know where to go, what to do, or was there always someone there like your mom to be able to help you go further?
I don't really recall a time that I wanted to give up. My mom, let's see here. She really was helpful. We lived in an inaccessible house, and I could walk with my crutches. I had to walk with my crutches because I couldn't use a wheelchair. So that left me very dependent on her because I couldn't carry anything, and I
Hmm.
couldn't. Now, I actually had a wheelchair accessible van that I could drive, which was amazing. I didn't
Wow.
have that for the first 4 years.
Hmm.
Um, you know what? I forgot your question. Was there a time I was tempted to give up? No, I wasn't really tempted to give up. There's days that now I will tell you when I was in the hospital, I was in the hospital and rehab for 3 months or for 4 months. There were times I cried myself to sleep at night, wondering what my future was going to hold and missing my friends because it kind of ripped me away from all my friends and college and fun and all that kind of stuff. They supported me for a long time until I moved to Columbus and they were 2 hours away. So that was tough, but I remember even some of my really down days, someone put a verse in my hospital room or in my rehab room. It said, "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength."
Yeah.
And I'm a believer, and so that kind of became my motto. And
Hmm.
so I use that to give it my all and to do the best I could in therapy and in life. And that was my motto for the New York City Marathon. And it just continues to keep me going to this day. Very
Hmm.
empowering. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's days that are discouraging, but never really to give up. Now there's times I felt rejection by people. That's actually kind of worse than the actual disability itself, is when people don't include you because it's difficult for them to, they just don't want to plan on you being there because they're your wheelchair. Like they want to do things that you can't do and they won't try to include you. Even if I can't do something, I don't mind watching them. I just want to be
Hmm.
there. And so that's been really difficult. But so that has led me to do a lot of stuff on my own and then meet people while I'm there. So that's
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Huh. Yeah, I'll never forget one of the first times after I don't know if I'd had surgery yet or if I was going for surgery, but I couldn't see anything. So my wife had to work one day, and my son had a ball game. Well, my neighbor, they have a son that was playing the ball game as well. So I went with the neighbor to the ball game, and I just sat there, and she started to describe what was happening. Somebody hit the ball to first base, or somebody hit the ball to second base. Second baseman, tagged the guy out or threw it to first base. I said, you don't really need to do that. I appreciate you doing that, but I would just be happy to sit here and listen to the ball game. I mean, I can't see it, but just being there allowed me to see it in my own way. So it's just that your experience is different when you're perceived to be in a disability and you can't do certain things, people downgrade or they discard really you because they don't think you can experience it in any sort of way that's going to be fulfilling, and that's just not true.
Yeah, I think one of the tough assumptions is like people tend to make decisions for you. Well, Stacy can't go. Oh, well, Stacy can't go hiking with us, so she wouldn't want to go to the mountains. Well, actually, I was spending a summer in Colorado, and people were going to go hiking, and I was like, yeah, I want to go with you. I'll just, sit here and look at the mountains while you guys hike. I mean, I would love to be there. And just don't assume just because I can't do it that I wouldn't enjoy being out in nature. And same with you. People could say, oh, Bryant can't see. It'll make him really sad to be at the baseball game when they just made that decision for you. But you're like, hey, just include me. I want to get out. I don't want to stay at home for the rest of my life.
I want to be there for the excitement of the ball game.
Yeah.
Or watching a sunset. I mean, there's blind kids. They appreciate a sunset. How can they? Well, it doesn't. Don't make a decision for them. I love that what you said. I mean, that makes total sense. Just don't make decisions for them. If they want to do it, let them do it.
At least give them the opportunity to say, hey, we want to do this. We'd love to include you. Do you think, how can we make this happen? Would you enjoy this? And if not, then, we just wanted to see if it was possible. So.
Yeah. And so I find myself making a lot of plans for them and saying, okay, now, and they'll say things like, well, I'm sure you can't see this, but yes, I can. Whatever. I can see what I can see. I'm sure you can do what you can do. But I think just making the plans for myself and then letting them follow along. Oh, okay. I didn't know Brian could do this. I mean, I didn't know Stacy could do this. So I think that's been one of the liberating things for me is to know that I can make the plans myself.
That's true. Yeah, a lot of times I'll invite people to do things with me, and I end up doing it alone a lot of times because people they're not interested in the same things, or they don't have the money, and a lot of times it's not really expensive. It'll be like, I love this one Elvis tribute artist. I love to go see him, so I'll invite people to that, or picnic with the Pops, movies, whatever. Sometimes people go with me, sometimes not. Now, I haven't driven for a long time, so I need people to put my wheelchair in their car. So sometimes when people can't do that, that's kind of limiting. So it kind of makes it sad. But anyway, yeah, like we as people with disabilities kind of like make the first move. And so that kind of would get people thinking, oh, maybe, she can do this.
Yeah, frees them up. So we got somebody on here, our friend Wes says, yes, this is an incredible story. So your story is absolutely incredible. I'm so glad you came on today and talked to us about it. So from a caregiver perspective, though, what else can we help the caregivers to realize? I mean, yes, one thing is to not make decisions for them, but I think of limiting. Sometimes the caregivers can be limiting. They even though you say you want to do this, you want to do that, they may take things away from you and say, we can't do that. That's too dangerous. Are there instances where you've run into that before?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, but at one point I do want to my mom was my caregiver for a really long time. And so there's a lot of things that I could do by myself. One thing that was really, really hard was for me to put my socks, my shoes, and my pants on. So she would do that because it took me a really long time because, like I said, my fingers don't work very well. So that was really hard. But then one day, this is way out, after I'd been home from rehab for a really long time, I was like, Mom, you can't do this for me anymore. I have got to learn to do it myself. And to this day, it takes me 15 minutes to put my socks, my shoes, my pants on. But it means I'm independent and I can travel and I don't have to take someone with me to do that. And so, like I said, it was hard, but now I can do it myself. And so that's something sometimes if there's things that are necessary for you to do yourself, try to do it as best you can. Now, there's also things that I can do myself that completely exhaust me. It takes me 3 times as long. I realize there's a lot of cooking I can do myself, laundry, but it when I work with my caregivers to do that, it takes it's twice as fast. I get it done, and I'm not completely exhausted. So meal prep I typically do with my helpers, and there's another point I can't remember. Like if you're a person with a disability and there's things that people need to know about you, I think it's important to share them. Like for me, like if I have to go to the bathroom, I got to go right away. So it's like,
Yeah.
stop touching me. I'm going to the bathroom, and so it's fine. Just to share needs like that, because when you're out and about, they'll need to know that, and it's not something to be embarrassed about. It's just part of your disability, part of your life, and sometimes it just is helpful for people to know those things so that they can work best with you.
Yeah, I remember when Chad Hymas, you know who Chad is?
Hmm?
He's a speaker, right? So he was in. Were you there when he was there that day at the National Speakers Association
I
meeting?
was, yeah.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. And he said, "Yeah, I need to use the restroom." And he's like, "No, you don't understand. I need to use the restroom."
I,
So I wheeled him out, and everybody else was there helping to make sure that we got there. But yeah, I mean, I definitely can see that that's something you just need to know.
yeah, sure.
So, okay, well, that's interesting. So. What else can we tell? Because what I'm hoping is that our listeners can start to appreciate not just your story, and your story is phenomenal, but how you've been able to overcome it. All of that is really great and inspirational to hear. But what else can we tell them about their caregivers that might be helpful to let their caregivers off the hook in certain instances, and also to let them know that even though our lives have changed, we're still leading really fruitful lives and doing a lot of good in the world. So, what can we help the caregivers to understand or appreciate that more?
Too, okay, there's a couple things. I just remembered now when I need to hire more help because, like I said, I only get like 8 hours a week. But what I like to tell people that are working with me that are new, I'd like, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because they might think, oh my gosh, what if I do this wrong? I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to, when I'm helping her get in the car, I don't want to like twist her leg or whatever. I just say, listen, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just, I'll tell you how to help me, and just, be yourself. And so I want to like free them up from being like so scared that they're going to do something wrong. And, it's just people with disabilities, any, I think sometimes people think that like able-bodied people think they can't relate to someone with a disability, but we have a lot of common interests that you do too. We like to go to concerts and shows and movies. We like to watch TV. I love documentaries. I love true stories. And so there's a lot of things that you can talk to somebody about that you don't have to be afraid. Well, just because they can't walk or they can't see doesn't mean they can't, do stuff that everybody else does. Like I remember, at first there was someone blind that I was serving on staff with a crew at Wright State University, and there was a gentleman that was blind, and I was kind of scared to talk to them. But it's like once I did, I just kind of like took the action and braved my fear, and found out that person had like a master's degree and was like super smart and all
Isn't
that.
that amazing?
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I'll never forget one time. I don't mean to interrupt you.
That's good.
Okay, so the one time I was working at the school for the blind, and the principal came in, and the principal was blind, totally blind. And so I'm sitting at this conference table, and she walked in the room, and she didn't know I was there. So I found myself making any way I could make noises, so she knew that I was in there. I didn't want her to think that the room was empty. So I made these noises, and I was I was scared. I was scared to talk to her. I was scared to interact. I didn't know what to do. And I mean, but once I let go of all that, once I began to understand that, she's a really nice person, and she's a person. So once I got to understand that, I really accepted that. Then it was so much easier to just work with her. So, but that initial step, the initial meeting was the hardest thing.
Yeah, and just understanding too, a person with a disability is a person first, just like what you were
Right.
saying. Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Well, this has been great, Stacy. I'm so glad you came on today.
Me too.
Yeah, thank you. And I will hopefully get to see you again someday soon. And we'll all get to see you. Now, I see we can meet you at meetstacyjames.com. Are there other ways to get in contact with you?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well.
Okay.
You can follow me there. And yeah, Meet Stacy James can just shows a lot of the topics that I speak about and ways you can contact me. So
Awesome.
um, ask any questions there.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much. Take
Thank you.
care.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.